guys, it's Mel16J here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a subject which a lot of people have a strong opinion on, and I'm going to be telling you mine, and hopefully you can contribute your opinion in the comment section below. So before I get started, I want to give a big thank you to Mr. Ed Vetter, or Infidel Amsterdam, as he's probably known more widely as, for sending me the Medicine CD. And along with that, he also sent me a nice little thing with a nice writing on it, signed as well, so worth some money one day. Oh my god. And he sent me a business card, yeah, which is cool, and I really do appreciate that, Ed. Thank you very much if you're watching this, I guess. So okay, let's get started. As you know, there are lots of subgenres in heavy metal music, and there's kind of a growing list every day, sort of. There's new bands that come out who bring out a new type of genre, and it's kind of makes it difficult to class every genre, every kind of band under a certain genre. I mean, I've actually got a list here of all the genres that I could kind of think of, so I'm actually going to read them out. Alternate metal, black metal, symphonic black metal, Viking metal, death metal, melody death metal, technical death metal, brutal death metal, doom metal, drone metal, sludge metal, folk metal, pagan metal, glam metal, goth metal, grindcore, groove metal, industrial metal, metalcore, new metal, post metal, power metal, progressive metal, gent, speed metal, stoner metal, thrash metal, thrash crossover metal, and rap metal. Does anyone else, apart from me, think that is completely ridiculous to have that many subgenres within one genre of music? It's so difficult to class every band. I mean, because like some elements of each subgenre kind of cross over with another element, and I only like subgenring, labeling bands if, I'm putting a CD onto a computer and I can go, right, that band is a thrash metal band, that goes in their thrash metal playlist. It gets a bit ridiculous if the band is labelled as a thrash metal band and their fan base is a thrash metal fan base, and that they somehow only are allowed to do thrash metal. It gets ridiculous for the band as well, because they find it limiting to keep writing thrash metal if they want to, move forward in terms of what they write. Does anyone else agree with me here? Anyone? On top of all that madness, you have the mixing of subgenres. If things couldn't get any more complicated within genres, you have the mixing. You have the black and thrash metal, you have the black and death metal, you have the death and thrash metal, you have the speed and power metal. You've got any kind of combinations, and it's so confusing to deal with. It makes me want to... Now, don't get me wrong, I am fine with bands doing that. That is completely okay. I like the kind of fusion of genres. I mean, one of my favourite bands would be kind of Behemoth, and they combine black metal with death metal, and it's really, really good. But it makes it really difficult to kind of class certain bands into certain genres, in my opinion at least. And it's kind of annoying that people go, they're a death metal band and they're a black metal band. I've seen a lot of comments on their videos, like Behemoth videos, and it says like someone has gone like, oh, this is a great black metal band, and then someone's gone directly above it just like, no, you're so stupid, this is a death metal band, obviously. And it's really, really, really bugs me. Really, really bugs me. Now, the most touchy subject about, the whole subgenre thing is about the pros and the, supposedly true metalheads. And this mainly goes on within the metalcore, the deathcore, and the new metal genres. And I guess myself, I don't personally like that much metalcore or new metal or deathcore. It's not my kind of thing. I mean, there are a few exceptions. I mean, I quite like Killswitch Engage, and I guess probably one of the most controversial bands. Don't hate on me, it's my opinion. I quite like Slipknot, and they're probably one of the most, kind of bands which people would call posers for liking. And I don't particularly see why these true metalheads would be bashing on a metal genre rather than bashing on a pop genre or whatever they don't like. I mean, it's still metal at the end of the day. It's called nu metal and metalcore. The word metal is in the title, and I think any way you look at it, you can see that it is metal. I mean, it might not be the genre that you like, or that a genre that you'd be interested in liking, but it's still metal at the end of the day. You don't have to look metal to be a metalhead. You don't have to talk about metal all the time. You don't even really need to just listen to metal. I mean, you can listen to anything and like metal. I mean, as long as it's a predominant part of what you listen to, you can call yourself a metalhead if you like it. Another thing you could kind of bring up in this whole pose a true metalhead kind of conflict is that some fans of a certain genre or certain, even bands kind of turn on the bands that they used to really like and say they're not real metalheads anymore. Probably the most obvious example of this would be Metallica, and Metallica obviously probably the most famous thrash metal bands, or one of the most famous metal bands ever, and that I think people say they have sold out, and I don't feel that they've sold out. I feel that they've kind of trended towards a more commercial talk type of metal, which I guess could be kind of said is selling out, but I think they're just kind of making it kind of more acceptable to the wider public rather than a specific group of fans, and I support that. That's fine. I don't particularly like their newer releases as much as I liked their older ones. However, I did buy their newest album. I did actually get Death Magnetic, and I do think it's quite good. And as well with Load and Reload, I would buy them because they're Metallica records and they've got a few good songs on them. But having said that, it's not actually as good as their old stuff. Okay, but getting back to the point is that fans who are big thrash metal fans, say, because of this, when Load and Reload came out, they would stop being Metallica fans because they're sellouts and they're not real metalheads anymore. And this is ridiculous because, I mean, if you still go to see Metallica now, they still play their old stuff live. I mean, they do play some of their new stuff, but they play a lot of old stuff, and they're still a great band, no matter which way you cut it. Probably another band who I've got a lot of controversy about their newest album, Morbid Angel. Morbid Angel are a very kind of key band in the death metal scene, and with their newest album, which is Illa Divinum Insanus, it got a lot of bad reviews. It wasn't a good album, let's put it that way. It wasn't a good album. It was poorly made, and it wasn't what they usually do, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Morbid Angel have actually come out and said that they've wanted to do an album like this, and I mean, you could say it's an experimental album, I guess, but it's not a good album. But they've wanted to do it, so I could support the band in order to that's okay if they want to do it. It's their choice. It's their music that they want to perform. But a lot of their old fans are saying that they're not Morbid Angel fans anymore because of this album. Somehow they have sold out and they're not death metal anymore. It's just completely ridiculous because they're one of the greatest bands around still. I mean, I've seen them at Bloodstock and they were absolutely brilliant. They played a few songs from Illa Divinum, and it wasn't actually bad. I could get into it sort of, but their older stuff was still insane. And other bands have done this as well. Another example, In Flames, their newest album is supposedly a metalcore album to some extent. I don't really know how. I think it's still melodeath, but I could be wrong. I mean, argue your case to me. Just comment down below and tell me what you think. Finally, if you've made it to the end of this video, I posed to you a question, I'll pose you a couple of questions. The first of which is about age in metal. One of them, this question is going to be, if I'm a 16-year-old lad myself, if I meet a 50-year-old guy who's into the same genre of, same bands that I'm into, who likes thrash metal as much as I do, and who just is generally like me in terms of what he listens to and what he wears and stuff, does that make him more of a metalhead because he's older than me? Does he have more experience in terms of metal than me? And does that make him more of a true metalhead than I am? Okay. Please leave your comments on that below. And the second question I'm going to ask you is, how can we stop the conflict between genres of metal? Because I personally, I hate going onto videos and scrolling down to see, comments on the bands, and I like to see kind of like people topical conversation about metal. But I hate scrolling down and see people going like, "Fuck off! This is a death metal video because you're a metalcore poser," or whatever it is. How can we stop things like that happening? People just go like, people just generally accept other metalheads in terms of what they listen to. Having asked those two questions, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next video. See you later.